gentlemen, this is proof anything can happen right here on hashtag Youth Cafe. Wapinduria, Embu College. Super excited. It's 8 p.m. East African time, and of course, you are on hashtag Youth Cafe Embu edition. And of course, I don't do it alone. My name is Brian Asili, and on the other side, we're looking at a damsel right now dressed in purple. Her name is
Tandy Rayego, of course, your hostess with the mostard. And I'm so excited right now because this is my first time in Embu, and we're gonna have such a lit conversation tonight. So make sure you stay with us. As always, the hashtag to use is Youth Cafe. You can follow me at Tandiray_Yego and Brian_Aseli. Oh my goodness, I'm about to forget Brian's name. And our question of the night on our Twitter poll is: do you think that the penalties put on people who are defaulters on HELB loans is fair? So please make sure you follow us on Twitter and use the hashtag Youth Cafe. I'm going to take it over to Brian right now, and he's going to introduce our panel of guests. So,
of course, we have an amazing panel. Thank you very much, Tandio Yego. And right about now, I'll be introducing my panel today just to demystify all odds about student loans. And of course, seated right next to me is Madam Principal. That's what I call her, because she is the principal and the host of Youth Cafe tonight. Her name is Miss Margaret Washira. Wapi makofi yake tafadhali. And of course, right next to her is a gentleman by the name John Mukundi, who's the director of Achievers College Embu. Wapi nduru yake tafadhali. Thank you very much. And of course, we have a student right here. This guy is so ambitious in leadership. And of course, his name is Kelvin Njau. Wapi makofi yake tafadhali. And of course, on the extreme, we have an academician. His name is Dr. Mark Otieno, who's the Dean of Students at the University of Embu. Karibu sana. Asante. And of course, we'll just dive into the first question. And of course, we would like to talk about the student loans, that is HELB. But before that, we just would like to inform everyone out there that we have a proper representation. And of course, representing the TVET, that is, she's going to explain it to us. She's right next here. So talk to us now, tuambie, what is TVET, T-V-E-T, so that the guests at home can be able to get to understand what we're talking about.
Very much. TVET stands for Technical Vocational Education Training, and as Embu College, being the principal here, we are an institution that is registered under TVETA. TVETA being the authority that is in charge of every institution that is offering tertiary education in Kenya. Mm-hmm. That is the authority that regulates diplomas and certificates in the nation of Kenya.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Dr. Mark, just talk to us about the institution that you represent, because this is more like a technical institute, and of course you come from a public university. Talk to us and give us details about the same.
Thank you very much, Brian, for that question. So as you heard, I come from the University of Embu. University of Embu is a public university. In Kenya, there are about 31 public universities, and of course, different from colleges that offer diplomas. Universities are accredited by a different institution, that's a Commission for University Education. So University of Embu is one of the accredited universities, and of course we have other private universities. So in Kenya we have slightly more than 67 universities that are all regulated under the Commission for University Education.
Definitely. Just wanted you to get a glimpse of what we're talking about right now. And of course, I don't know why my paper is flying all over the place. I'll just go with my Mwakenya. Najua mmeshaifanya Mwakenya, si ndio? Definitely. But then I'll just go to the first question. Do you think it's necessary to have technical institutions, and what? Talk to us.
I think it is very important that we have technical institutions. Reason is because education right now in Kenya looks like it is inverted. Many people ran into higher education levels at the universities, and you realize that universities will produce people that are actually in managerial positions, but technical institutions will definitely produce those people that are technical in nature. And therefore, I think it is very, very important to actually place the triangle of education in its original format, whereby we have very few managers and very many technical people.
Let me find out. Embu College, are you guys technical people?
Yes.
I understand your point. Are you guys technical people? Are you the guys who are going to connect the, are you guys the connecting factor in between the job market and just the education level? Just think about that as we continue. And of course, how important is it, Dr. Mark, to have the tertiary, the technical institutions?
Well, thank you very much for that question. So, technical institutions, number one, it's able to be accessible to a large number of people. Remember that our system is such that it's very exam-oriented, and it produces people who, the topmost performers normally go to the universities. But a reality in Kenya today, you realize, is very many people actually get good qualifications, but because of the very few opportunities that are there in the universities, then they lack somewhere to go. So number one, technical institutions is a good place to absorb this kind of a population. And number two, as Mr. Mukundi has said, and that's very correct, that if you have one manager, then you need a number of people below you who can be able to support. So for example, if you have an engineer requires a lot of technicians who can work with him. Because you can imagine if you're producing engineers and they're not technicians, then there's no work that is going to be done. So I think technical institution as well, today, for example, let's just be practical. If you want your water to be fixed, if there's a leak in the house, who do you go to? You see, those people like plumbers, people like electricians are extremely important in our society today. So then the push would be to have more of these people who can offer those services that we really need, the ones that support us on a daily basis. And of course now, as even parents who are bringing their children to colleges, they need to be more of this kind of people filling those positions in society. Let's not just focus on sending everybody to the university to go for these degrees that most of them, as a reality again, when you finish, is not guaranteed that you're going to get a job.
Okay, now we're going to dive into this question. It's very simple. And of course, it's HELB. HELB stands for Higher Education Loans Board, in that students are often given a percentage to be able to cater for their tuition fee. And definitely, some of them are also as we shared earlier on, enjoy an upkeep, I believe. And of course, we just want to find out, do you think it's almost discriminatory, Madam Principal, to just say that private universities and public universities often get the HELB money, but then the technical institutes, you have not been able to be beneficiaries of the same? Just talk to us about that.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say that we thank HELB for the support they are giving to Kenya students. But a point to note is that there is a lot of emphasis now for students in TVET institutions to actually get funding from the government. Unfortunately, at the moment, the government has focused on public institutions and forgotten about the private colleges as at now, which I think it is not fair, because when a student chooses to come to an institution like Embu College, being a private institution, it doesn't mean that they have a lot of money. There is that notion of thinking that being in a private institution, then you have a lot of money to get to such a place. That is a disillusion. These students need money, these students need funding, and I think it's time that somebody also spoke for them, that the government needs to know we do not have private students. We don't have private citizens of Kenya. Who we have is Kenyan citizens, people that are supposed to have equal rights, people that are supposed to also get the same funding that a person who chooses to go to a public institution gets, because they will eventually pay up this money. It's a loan. So I definitely think that for somebody who wants to get a loan, regardless of where they are, regardless of the institution they have chosen to study from, they should be given this opportunity. And I think it's time that everybody actually focus their eyes on the student, not where they study.
True. Calvin Njau is right here. You're firsthand, you've experienced this firsthand, okay? So just share with us your experience being a student at Embu College. Is it easy to pay the tuition fee? And do you think that students in technical institutions should be given an opportunity to enjoy HELB?
Okay. It has been so hard because of paying the school fees and everything. Because the school fees, if you look like a student has come, and maybe he wants or she wants to pay the school fees, and maybe she's been supported by a guardian or maybe she or she is supporting himself, it is a challenge because maybe if you look at the CDF and everything, they're giving maybe 3,000 shillings or 5,000 shillings, whereas it's not benefiting, and whereas you're paying up to 15,000 shillings. So as a student, I would see it is not something good because they are not equal. Because if you look, for example, the people who did the KCSE, they were 500,000 students. And the people who qualified for the public, and maybe they can be given even the HELB loans, they are 60-something thousand. 60,000 and 64,000. And what about the 440-something maybe students? Where are they right now? So I would insist for them to maybe give us the HELB loans, because it is not equal. They have to be equal and they have to be fair and not to discriminate about anything.
Dr. Mark, just talk to me about the same. Do you think it's discriminatory for HELB to actually pay advances for students only in public universities and not technical institutions?
Well, I wouldn't really speak on behalf of HELB because I really do not know what the policy is at the moment. But what I know is where HELB came from, it used to focus on a very small population of students because of, again, income that they have or the allocation they had from government. But slowly that has changed. And these days, they are able even to support students who are on a private sponsorship. So those who are not placed in universities through the KUCCPS, which is the body that places students in universities. Mm-hmm. So if a student goes to university and is self-sponsored, now HELB is able to provide that student with a spot. But I think moving forward, it will just be a good idea to engage in conversations because this really requires multiple stakeholders in different areas where education is offered. Perhaps that's something that moving forward should be tabled to HELB and the National Treasury, for example, so that at least the point you are raising is very valid because at the end, and the principal made it very clear, the end is these citizens are going back to the society to serve this country. So then what informs supporting some of them who are in specific types of institutions and not others? I think that needs a conversation on its own.
True story, and this conversation continues. We are asking a very simple, tweetable question. And what are some of the challenges that you've experienced in applying the HELB loan? It's as simple as that. What are some of the challenges you've experienced? The hashtag is very simple, Youth Cafe, Embu Edition, and we are in Embu, live at Embu College. What we do, we are Embu College, tafadhali. And I'm going to be talking to my co-host right now, Tandio Yego. I don't know if you're feeling the atmosphere right now on the conversation, and just talk to us and tell us if you have any comments on the same on social media.
Brian, definitely, as Margaret said, the focus should be on the students. And of course, I want to hear and sample some of the opinions of the students here of what we've been hearing from the panel so far. So I don't know if there's anyone who wants to talk to us and tell us how they feel about this and how they feel about the HELB loans, and if it's unfair that they do not offer them to private universities. So I'm going to start picking people out here if you don't volunteer. So can you talk to us and let us know how you feel? Tuambie. Simama tu tuambie ama nitawapick by force. It's got to go back to classroom strategies. Aya, simama tuambie jina yako na tuambie how you feel about this situation. Oh yeah, so.
Okay, I'm Maxwell Mutinda. I take a certificate in secretarial studies in Embu College.
You can speak in any language whatsoever.
Acha Swahili ni sawa.
Wape makofi yake tafadhali.
Endelea tu.
Okay, sijapata hiyo swali.
Nataka utueleze vile unasikia kuhusu hizi HELB loans na kama unaona ni unfair ya kwamba wanapatiana mostly to public universities and not private universities. Umeelewa sasa?
Nimeelewa.
Aya.
Okay, what I can talk about in the question is the public universities are given that loan, which is not fair, because we as students of Embu College or private institutions, we also need that help because we are also struggling to get the fees. Okay.
Shukran, shukran. And right now, Brian, I just want to direct a question to the panel, and I want them to tell us the budget this year for HELB loans is 10.1 billion, 10.1 billion Kenya shillings. So how do you feel? Do you think this is realistic? Do you think that we'll be able to make it?
I think the budget is good, given the point that that loan is that HELB money is meant to become seed capital for the HELB, so that they can facilitate to help the student to raise some money through for their fees, and therefore I believe that money, the way they have set it aside, is good. But they should not forget all the students, because all the students, they are supposed to benefit from the same. Discriminating it, again, it will definitely mean that they are violating Kenyan rights. And it is a loan. And you cannot tell me, if I go to a bank, you cannot just tell me how I am going to use my loan, whether I'll go to a private institution or a public institution. And therefore, we need actually that kind of loan distributed to all the Kenyan students wherever they are. That is what I would say.
And I totally agree with that. But just want to know firsthand, kila mtu hapa hivi amekuwa able to pay school fees in good time? No. Has everyone gotten a chance to pay school fees at that particular time? Kenyans are listening to you right now. Hey, kumbe pano mko. So we would just like to know how you feel about that. Would you like the loans za HELB ziweze kuwafikia? Exactly why, when a microphone is right next to you, you want to get to listen to that. So is there anyone who wants to give us feedback on the same? Tafadhali, wapi mikono? Naona their hands. Okay, nice. I'm seeing a hand right there.
Okay, I'm Anthony Kariuki. Actually, I feel that HELB is unfair to the private institutions, since we have a big challenge, since the big population in the private institution, they come from the humble backgrounds. We need a platform, or even the rules should be regulated. They are so much rigid in that part, that you have to apply for the CDFs so that you can you can access the funds that you can pay your school fees on time. So if the rules of the land can be flexible, that we students can access the funds on time, and also so that we can take care of that. Also, we turn up to the credit offered by apps banks, that like an example of Branch, Tala, they bind us that we cannot access the funds on time. So that gives us a challenge also, not to access the money.
So accessing money is a big problem. I want to hear more feedback from the students. There's a lady right there. Please, Tandiwe, right next to you, your right side. And of course, we'd like to just get to hear. Hii story tunafilaje? Ama tuongee kwa lugha kila mtu anaelewa. Hii story mnafilaje?
Hello, I'm Marcy Wanjuru. I'm taking banking and finance diploma. Okay, for me, I will quote Anthony, my colleague here. It's not really fair that the public schools are getting the help and fund, and us in the technical institution are not getting it, because many of us here, like here in Embu College, actually I see my future so bright, but when I get like limitation for paying the school fees, it's really so painful. And in the CDFs we only get like 300 or 3K, yes, 3K tunalipa hizo school fees, and it's
a little bit hard.
3K from the school fees we pay, it's little sana, yeah. And if at all tungekuwa tuna access, because many people, like I come from Taita Taveta County, and if you look at the youths, many of them have not joined college because, or any technical university, because of the no enough money to pay the school fees, and they end up in bad debts. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that remark. We're going to take a short commercial break. Najua mnataka kumpigia makofi. Let's do it. And of course, that's the atmosphere right now. My panel is really hot. And of course, hashtag Youth Cafe Embu edition. Of course, in the able hands of at KTN News. And of course, we want to make sure that everybody gets a voice. When we continue the conversation, we will be talking about the disbursement of funds. And of course, we would like you to be a part and parcel of the conversation. Take a short break. And when we come back, the conversation continues. Wapi ndio yao tafadhali.